Hi everyone, this was a Wi-Fi battle I had with someone off of Smogon Wi-Fi Battle Finder. It was an NU match. I led with Sork, and as you can see from my team, it's quite strong, quite varied. Let's see how it went. Well, she starts off with a Torterra, and I start with Sork, my sensei. I switch out because fighting's not very effective against grass types, so I switch into Kingpin, the SERPERIOR, take whatever move was gonna come my way, but she went for a Stealth Rocks and then switched out, knowing she wasn't very effective. She went into a Charizard. I went for the Toxic, anticipating the switch. Charizard goes for an overheat, and I thought that SERPERIOR would be able to take that because it's quite highly invested in defense and special defense, but it knocks me out, which was a bit of a downside. She takes a bit of damage from Toxic. Then I send in my Misty, the auxiliary. She withdraws Charizard, anticipating the Torterra coming out. I go for Ice Beam, but she goes for the Electros. So I go for the Ice Beam, and it doesn't do too badly. It gets over half HP damage, even with leftovers. I withdraw Misty, anticipating the electric move coming. Going to Pizza Oven, the Heat Maw, but she goes for a Thunder Wave. Then the Electros, after leftovers recovery, she goes for a Volt Switch, and I go for a Flamethrower, not realising she had the Volt Switch. That does quite a bit of damage as well, which isn't great. Charizard comes in to take the Flamethrower quite easily. Charizard goes for the Earthquake. I leave it in because it's Death Fodder. It's paralysed and nearly a third of its health left. After Toxic damage, her Charizard is below half. I go into the Brain, my BTM. Not too damaged by Stealth Rocks, and she goes into her Butterfree. I go for a Psychic, which does quite well. Takes about 75% health before leftovers, but it's still a fair bit of damage after the leftovers. She goes for a Shadow Ball, but it's quite especially defensive, is my BTM, and it doesn't do too badly, does about half. And then I go for another Psychic just to knock it out, and that is a dead Butterfree. She sends out a Parasect. I go for another Psychic, stabbed and highly offensive especially, and almost knocks it out. Lives with about -1 HP and goes for a Spore. So now BTM is just sleeping on the battlefield, which isn't great. in a wifi, in a Pokemon battle. That is not something you want. So the brain is still asleep. She goes for a Giga Drain. Didn't do too much damage. So I think that BKM can take a couple more of them. So I'll stay out, try and see if it'll wake up. Because another attack will knock it out. She goes for another Giga Drain after BKM is still asleep. But it's still not waking up. She withdraws her Parasect knowing that she can't really do well with it, so she goes into her Perugly, her Fat Cat. I'll leave BKM out there just to take the attack because I only had like 60 HP left, so it'd be no point switching into an attack. And it loses some life orb damage. I send out my sensei because fighting is super effective against normal. And I go for a close combat, knowing she'd switch. I figure close combat will do a massive amount of damage. But she goes into her flying Charizard, and it doesn't knock it out, lives with about 1 HP. But the toxic damage will kill it. And this is a choice scarfed Sork. So I'm locked into close combat. Knocks out her Electros, and that's the thing I like about Close Combat 2. Superpower drops your attack and defense, whereas Close Combat just knocks down your defense. I go for another Close Combat on her Torterra, and that does a nice amount, over half. Goes for a Giga Drain, which after the 3 special defense drops will do a fair bit of damage, and that'll almost get her back to full. But another close combat will knock her down quite a bit. So another close combat will take her to about 25-30% HP. And she'll go for the Giga Drain, but having 49 HP, she won't get a right lot from that. Takes her to about 40%. She gets a bit of leftovers recovery. Then I go out into my Octillery, thinking I'm going to be faster and be able to get off an Ice Beam to knock it out completely. But no, this fat lump of Torterra is faster. And she kills me with Leaf Storm. So I bring out my last line of defense, my Slacking, the Slacker. I use Retaliate, 70 base power, but it seems like I had a death before, it's doubled to 140. With Stab, that's a massive total of 210 power, base power, with Slacking's massive 433 attack. The only downside to Slacking is his Truant ability, where you can't move on consecutive turns. She goes for the spur, and now it's asleep, but it's very bulky. It will take a lot of hits, so I'm not worried at this point. She goes for a venom shock. Won't do a lot, it's not stab, and I'm not poisoned. She gets some recovery from leftovers. I wake up after the first turn and retaliate, which knocks her out. Then she sends out her Parabola, and this is also a choice scarf. It's lacking, so I'm locked into retaliate. She goes for the body slam. It loses some life orb damage. Then I retaliate, and that is the game. Slacking has won the match quite easily. And yeah, so that was the battle. It was quite an interesting battle. A few bad plays on my part, but overall I think I did alright. Like, comment, subscribe, read all comments, and yeah, so see ya.